You are listening to a recording of the bodacious blog post Truth in Conspiracies versus Media Truths, written by me, Kim.E, from isnotso.com. Please note that everything you will hear is based on my personal perspective. The responsibility lies with you to pursue and explore your own channels of information to either confirm or reject what you will hear. We are not meant to be fearless freethinkers, because then we cannot be manipulated. Cognitive dissonance is the consequence of well-designed information warfare based on the blind trust practiced by the indoctrinated masses. Who or what defines the validity of an expert's opinion? Who or what defines the trustworthiness of the expert, their expertise, or their opinion? Why do non-experts seldom question an expert's opinion, especially if the decisions non-experts make may be based on such opinions and will inevitably impact their lives? The unquestionable natural law of cause and effect reigns supreme. So why wouldn't we question every decision we make, regardless of anyone else's opinion, as well as consider the probable consequences, especially the long-term effects? Perhaps my cynical nature is to blame for me not trusting anyone blindly, regardless of the grand title they choose to hide behind, which certainly doesn't mean they aren't trustworthy. The responsibility of my decisions is my very own, and something I take rather seriously, which is why I've always found it extremely important to do my own research and gather various perspectives beforehand. Why would I rely on anyone else to do that for me, or grant them the power to strongly influence what I do or don't do in my life? Because I want to buy what I need and not be drawn into consumerism and overconsumption, I avoid any form of advertising whenever possible. Yes, I am that extreme. On the other hand, is that really extreme or just healthy? I would say the latter. Perhaps owning responsibility of the decisions we make is the problem. Yes, it is rather difficult to acknowledge that no one else, except ourselves, is responsible for the fuck-ups in our lives. Oh, how we love the blame-shame game, and most people are absolute masters at it. It is because our attention is constantly deflected and focused on the other person and what they are doing wrong that we fail to see ourselves in the process. I find it fascinating that the judgment we have in others is actually what we haven't addressed in ourselves. Besides my cynical nature, I find it rather off-putting when someone proudly hides behind their academic titles or career achievements. Nothing against such achievements, of course, but why does anyone need to be seen or treated any differently to anyone else just because of the title they behold or the important social position they have been granted? Why does anyone with a title need to be trusted without question? Besides stroking their big egos, we are so blinded by their titles and accolades that we fail to see the person for who they truly are, and we trust them without question. An example would be the dude who co-founded Microsoft, not through his own genius, but rather through acquiring the technology. After facing congressional antitrust hearings in 1997, he went on to become one of the richest and most respected men alive through his philanthropic ventures and his desire to vaccinate the world. Just so you know, I have absolutely no respect for this man who has deceived the world with his demeanor and blue-collar attire and has his fingers in way too many pots that have very little to do with the well-being of global citizens and more to do with his own financial gain and absolute power. Firstly, how do you become a multi-billionaire through philanthropy, when philanthropy is supposed to be the charitable act of giving money away and not receiving it? Even more fascinating is that all the well-known multi-billionaires have philanthropist in their bios, a title that automatically boosts their reputation and excuses them for everything else. Fuck that. Question is, how did they become multi-billionaires through their philanthropic ventures? Besides being the perfect tax evasion strategy, there seems to be a lot of shadiness around DAF accounts and foundations, which every massive, thriving corporation seems to have. Secondly, vaccinating the whole world earns shitloads of money for all concerned, which makes it a great business venture, especially when it is natural for us to be deeply concerned about health and longevity. Sadly, the success of the pharma industry comes at the cost of the recipient's health. Since the COVID vaccinations, cancer rates and heart attacks in all ages have shot up. But fear not, The pharma industry has that covered with newly introduced drugs designed to combat what they created to begin with. And so the downward spiral begins with an attempt to regain one's health through the dependency on drugs that many profit from. To name but a few, the doctor, the pharmacist, the shareholder in a pharmaceutical company, all three of which would not exist in the way they do if we were all healthy. Our health does not concern such industries because our health does not earn them any money, which is why our medical system is represented by doctors who have become affluent pharmaceutical sales representatives who readily subscribe medication that does more harm than good. We willingly support such a system because it is so much easier to swallow a get-fit quick pill than to change our mindset and lifestyle. This vicious circle of willing support has a high price to pay though. Live the way you wish to die. Become deeply concerned about what you feed your body and your mind. Living my last years as a sickly, disease-ridden person is a ghastly thought, which is why I do what I can today to prevent that from happening. There is nothing healthy about vaccinations. In fact, there is nothing healthy about any preventative medication. Personal opinion, of course. All the companies involved in the course of events, which I like to label the genocide agenda, that was initiated in November 2019, have made astronomical profits. Why genocide? Because many people are dying, not from COVID, but from other diseases. Now, before you go into a rant about that being yet another conspiracy theory, do your own research. Be advised though, you will not find much on any mainstream media channels because there has been massive censorship since 2020. Ever wondered what the power players wish to keep hidden? Check out rumble.com and videos from Dr. Robert Malone, Dr. Peter McCulloch, Dr. Christine Northrup, Ed Dowd, Russell Brand, and Mickey Willis, just to name a few. In fact, check out the website plandemicseries.com for great videos from Mike Willis that will surely shatter your conspiracy theory claim. Unless, of course, you wish to remain in constant self-denial and blissful ignorance. I desperately wanted to warn people with my social media posts, asking them to wait a year before getting jabbed, to do their own research, to not blindly trust mainstream media, to ask questions. I received numerous comments that the information I was providing was a conspiracy theory. I stepped on quite a few oversensitive toes and lost a lot of false friends in the process. Oh well, numerous posts were blocked on my social media accounts because I went against the narrative, which is blatant media control and censorship. Then I decided to take a step back because the message I gave didn't matter and my social media community wanted to shoot the messenger, namely me. What is a conspiracy theory though? According to Oxford, the meaning of conspiracy theory is a belief that some covert but influential organization is responsible for an unexplained event. Alone the word conspiracy evokes a sense of fear. Just add conspiracy to any theory and it is automatically classified as evil, utterly false, dangerous, and should be rejected without question. What if that covert organization is not so secret, but right in our faces and represented by a conglomeration of our national governments that are all puppets to the United Nations and its agencies? Not forgetting the bankers, big pharma, big tech, big media, big food, big agri, and any other massive corporations and industries that control the whole world through monopolization. The heads of our government and massive corporations intimately snuggle up in the same bed to achieve two specific outcomes: astronomical wealth and absolute power. Our well-being doesn't concern them, so they create the problems and provide the solutions. The whole genocide agenda was created to achieve global dominance that would be gained through the destruction of economies and the creation of illness and poverty. Look at all the countries that have been brought to their knees by such superpowers and have had the economies crushed, their natural resources exploited, their citizens enslaved to a corrupt economy and used as pharma industry guinea pigs for their death drugs. Well, they certainly seem to be getting the global dominance right with their well-planned agenda, unless of course we all unite and say no. But how can we say no if we don't know what we are saying no to? We each have a massive responsibility, which has fuck all to do with us personally and everything to do with everyone else. It is an undeniable fact that the decisions vax people made, which were blatantly enforced with their discrimination and the polarization of anti-vaxxers, showed unequivocal support for the genocide agenda. Without the vaxxed support, the power players would not have been able to pull everything off. The decisions we all make impacts everyone around us. It is time for us to be brutally honest about what we bring to the table. If we do not unite, we are all fucked, and the one world government will become a reality. It is quite shocking to realize that the United Nations, which is represented by the heads of state from 193 nations, is in partnership with the World Economic Forum and the likes of Klaus Schwab. The United Nations and all its agencies, including the WHO and WIPO, where many COVID vaccines and other meds have been patented, plus countless corporations, including Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, are all supported by our governments. Together with the World Economic Forum, the United Nations is pushing the 2030 Agenda, aptly called Sustainable Development Goals. First, they will crush the economies, reduce the population, create disease and poverty, and then enter as the haloed savior coming to save the world. Say no. You will own nothing and you will be happy. Say no. Yes, I may be stepping on your oversensitive toes, but if that makes you do your own research, then I will happily step a little harder. Your wish to remain in constant self-denial and blissful ignorance impacts everyone around you. Tell your ego to take a back seat and grab hold of the steering wheel, because the world needs you right now, a statement that should be taken very seriously. Time is an invaluable asset. Thank you so much for sharing yours with me. Much love, Kim.E from isnotso.com.